Hi Scrappy friends, welcome back to my channel and welcome to another edition of Borders to Pages, where we take the Creative Memories 110 Scrapbooking Border Ideas and Sketchbook and we pick a border from the book. We create the border using different tools and different paper collections, but still trying to stay focused on whatever the technique is that was displayed in the original sketch. And then we create the border and then we turn it into a scrapbook layout right away. So that's what we're going to do today. And if this is your first time here, know that there is a whole playlist on my video. Just go to the playlist tab and find 110 scrapbooking border ideas and sketches. You'll see the first 10 videos there, and this is our 11th one in this series. And if you didn't know, I also do this same series once a month over on my Facebook channel, which is linked in the description below. But I go over there once a month on Workshop Wednesday. I do the same thing where I create the border and turn it into a page, sometimes a 1-page, sometimes a 2-page. So if you want, go check it out over there as well. So for today, the border that we are going to work on is right here on page 94. This is a very simple border, but I feel like I say that about a lot of them in here. And I think what makes it simple is once we break it down and we see the different parts. And once we learn whatever the technique is that is being highlighted in that border, once we learn it, we can just take that idea and do it over and over with different tools and different paper. And no one would even know that we're just using the same border sketch, but using it different ways. So let me pop this one up here on the screen so that we could take a better look at it. Okay, so this, like I said, this one is relatively easy. There is a base to this sketch, but it's kind of hard to see because it's hidden behind the border punch out. So if you look at the colorful inspiration piece, you'll see that that's the Diamond Arches border punch. And it has that little diamond at the bottom of the arch of the banner. And the little diamond is colored in with a charcoal gray. And that's what they're calling the base on this sketch. So there is a base, it's just a little bit more hidden. And we'll talk more about that when we go to create our border. And then they take a strip of paper and punch along both sides. That's the special technique on this particular border, is just knowing the width of paper that you want to use, punching on both sides, and then adding a couple more layers and some embellishments, and voila, you're done. So very easy border to create today. So come on back to my desk and we'll go ahead and get started. Okay, so I'm going to be using the Sunflower Fields collection for my border today. I just love the bright colors of this collection, and I really feel like this could be used for a lot of different outdoors photos, which you're going to see today. I don't have a lot of fall photos that aren't scrapped yet, so I'm going to use this for an outdoor layout. Like I was saying, I think the main thing that we need to take away from each of the sketches is what is the special technique that we should learn. And this one is double punching one of the layers in the border, and so we'll talk more about that, but I am going to use this Floral Peaks border punch. I think this is great for outdoors photos as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started, and we are going to start with punching out our border. So let me grab my trimmer. So I'm going to use this beautiful sunflower tone-on-tone paper for the layer that has the double punch on it. And this one is going to be 3.5 by 12 inches. So we're going to do a 3.5 inch width. This is about the biggest that I like to do for my borders. And then we're going to bring back in that Floral Peaks punch. And we're just going to punch out both sides. So in case you didn't know, with the Creative Memories border punches, there's a line here on the front. You take the side of your paper and line it up to that line, push the paper to the back of the tray and hold it there and then press down. And I'm just going to continue that. This one has the little triangle to help you line it up right there. I don't know if you could see that. There we go. So it makes it really easy. And 3.5 inches is, for me, is a pretty wide border. But I think punching it out is going to make it a little smaller. And then I'm going to turn it around and punch the other side. Nothing hard or difficult here. A lot of these sketches are on the blog post, so I went ahead and linked the specific one for you, and I am going to be making a few changes to mine today, and we'll talk about more about that as we go along here. Okay, and again, I have a little piece. That one tore off pretty nicely. Okay, let me go ahead and put that sketch up here on the screen for you. Now we can see and follow along, and you'll see so far I have my punch outs. Now, like I was explaining when we were looking at the sketch at full size on the screen, is that the little bit of the slate or the gray that was poking through, that punch has that little diamond area that is perfect for popping out some color from behind. This one's a little bit more challenging and difficult, so I'm going to change up here a little bit what they did. What they did was they put a strip behind that kind of just covered both sections, and I can't do that very easily because of the design of this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in this canary cardstock, and I'm just going to do a 1/2 inch strip, and I'm going to do that 2 times. So I'm going to have to do it a little different than what they did. So I don't want to back the whole piece. I want to back just one little row. So it's going to look something like this. It's going to be very, very minor amount of yellow showing through. It's not going to be a huge contrast on my border, but if you wanted it more of a contrast, you could just use a different solid color behind yours. Okay, so if you use a punch that has that something to show through, you can go ahead and show another color behind it. If not, then you wouldn't have to worry about it at all. And even on this border that I've decided on today, the Floral Peaks, I don't really need to have anything exposed behind. I just want to add a little bit extra to my border. I'm going to pull in my mat and my repositionable tape, and I'm just going to put a little at the bottom sections of the punch out. Then bring that strip in, and then what I'm going to do is just line it up as best as I can. Let me move this out of the way so you can see. I'm just going to be moving the top and bottom around a little bit. Try and get it to the top here, but not showing so much through the diamond part of the punch. It's going to show a little. It's not going to be perfect on this punch because this one is just designed differently. You can skip this part altogether if you wanted to. Okay, so there we go. So it's like I said, it's not perfect with this punch because it gets really close to that center diamond. And if you didn't like that, you could go back and trim that off ever so slightly, but it would be on each one where it's showing too much for your taste. But I wanted to show you because it can be done, and also it just adds that little bit extra. And that's the special technique on this border. So like I was saying, once we decide what it is the special technique is, we can change our punch and change the paper, and we can just keep using the same sketch over and over. So think about what other punches do you have that you can do this on. In fact, let me know in the comments what punches you have that you can use the same technique on. Double punch and then add some color popping out behind. And then knowing your punch will help you know what size strip to use on the back. Okay, so let me go ahead and get the next one on, and I'll be right back. Okay, there we go. But let me bring in a piece of black cardstock so you can maybe see that a little bit better. And you see it just adds a little bit of color to it. Not much. I could see it a lot better in person than I can on the screen. But let's go ahead and continue, because the next step would be adding 2 more layers to this border right here in the center. Let me scoot that up out of our way just a bit. Bring back in my trimmer, and this time I'll bring in this plaid piece. Again, I'm going to stray from the original directions just a bit because they wanted us to cut like a 1 1/4 inch piece, and I don't have enough room here for that. So I'm only going to cut a 1 inch piece so that I could still see that beautiful sunflower paper behind this strip. So this will be 1 by 12 inches. And then on top of that, we'll just turn this one over, and we're going to take a small little sliver of this beautiful sunflower paper. I'm going to actually do it on this side. Cutting it on this side gives you a little bit more control of the paper because you have this whole base over here to hold on to it. Okay, so that's 3/4 of an inch long by 12 inches. Let's talk a little bit more about the paper. So what I did was I used a solid colors cardstock as the base and what's popping through right here. Then I used a tone-on-tone paper here and another tone-on-tone paper for the second layer. And then I have the sunflower paper as my focal paper, and that's the one that I want on top. That's all we need to do. We just need to layer that up, and we'll get to some embellishing. So 1 inch is perfect. 1 1/4, I would have started to cover up some of those decorative elements I just took time to put the paper in. Okay, let's put on the third layer. I like to think of these as formulas. So we have a base, which in this particular case, I would actually count this as a base and not this, but in the directions they count the cardstock as the base. And then, so a base and then 3 layers, the punched out one and then 2 straight cuts. And of course, you could use a decorative blade on that and that would look super pretty as well. Okay, and then now let's decorate. And for that, I'm going to bring in the stickers that came with this collection. And I am going to be doing some hiking pages today. You'll see in the inspiration they just have a cluster off to the side. Of course, you can move it to the side, either side or in the middle. I'm going to keep it like the sketch. I do like this one that says beautiful day. Also, what a great day would be another fun one, but I'm going to go ahead and go with beautiful day because it was certainly a nice beautiful day. And I'm going to go ahead and pop that up onto some foam squares and then put that right there. Instead of this piece of pattern paper, you can also change that out for a border strip. There are a couple nice ones on here. This sunflower would look super nice going down the center of that. So I like this big one here, and I think it's going to go right there. But I do want to add a cluster base to that. So let me grab some cluster bases and see what I want to add. The silicone mat is a good place to house those stickers while you're waiting. I was cleaning up and I threw a bunch of cluster bases that have just been laying around my table in this little box that was sitting on my cart. And let's see, some of these are really big, not the right shade of green. Something like that is pretty. Keep that out. Maybe, oh here, this one's kind of nice. That's a good shade for that. We have some brown too, that's super nice. And these, like I said, these were just laying around and starting to make a mess, so I thought let's start a new little box for some cluster bases. I do like this. We can bring it up a little bit. I just want it to, the yellow blends in too much with my background, so it needs a little something. And you know what? I like that. So I'm actually going to press that down and I'll adhere that a little bit more. But I do like that. And then I want to bring this right on top of that. So it's kind of a layered upon a layer. Yep, I really like that. Let me move this out of the way. And there we go. I'm going to zoom in so you can see it a little bit closer. I'll adhere all that down, and there we go. That was easy. Having that little box of some cluster bases that I didn't use on previous layouts came in handy. So I'm very happy with that. Their border was basically an outdoor layout as well, but I turned mine into more of a fall-ish outdoor layout inspired border instead, using different punches and different paper, and I love it. So let me adhere this down and gather up my photos, and I'll be right back to create a page with this beautiful border. Okay, hold on. Okay, we're back, and I thought that this border looked so nice on that black paper that I decided to go ahead and bring in some dark brown. This is hot cocoa brown, and it looks absolutely beautiful. So let me show you the photos. Like I was saying, I have some hiking photos, and I feel like this paper is really good with some outdoor photos. I have a bunch of vertical photos and one horizontal photo and one that I cropped down just so I could see the different sign. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do is put these photos aside for the second page and put 3 vertical photos on the first page. I kind of want them all in a row and maybe just a little bit at an angle. So sometimes what I like to do is put the one in the center straight, and then the other ones tuck them and bend them. So you can tell it was fall when we took this hike because the waterfall is very small. And then this one I will turn that way, and also the hills are very, very brown. I like that, but I brought these 2 pieces of paper in as well. The yellow polka dot is the back side of the sunflower, and then the green plaid that we used in the border, I'm thinking I want to make strips and do a frame style foundation here all the way around. So what I'm going to do is cut the green plaid into 1-inch strips. I will do 4 for this page, and then I'll do 4 for the other page as well. Okay, there we go. I have 4 for this page and 4 for the other side. Put those with my photos. And what I do when I do this is I'm just going to lay them across. Now I know that it's plaid and their patterns are not going to be going the same way, but I'm okay with that. Now you could either miter the edges or you can just lay them across and overlap. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to overlap today. Okay, and then bring this in. I'll trim this down to 11.5 by 11.5, and there we go. Okay, let me go ahead and do that, and I'll be right back. Okay, there we go. I love it. I like just having that little bit of that plaid green showing through, and it helps to pop out the green in our border and all the green in my photos. And I'm loving that it just added that whole other layer and texture to my base layout. Now I want to move on and do some matting or some more layering of paper. I don't really want to mat these photos individually or anything like that. So that's why I have this yellow polka dot piece sitting here, because what I'm thinking is I'm going to put it down here. I'll trim that so that some of the brown is exposed. Probably touch the border just to the top of the paper. I like doing that so that it just feels very connected to each other. And then once again, I will bring the photos back in. So I'll probably come up right about here, probably take off about 3/4 of an inch here, about an inch off the side. I like it. I like that the green and the brown is showing through. That's just super cute. I think one last thing I want to do is bring in my corner rounder. I'm going to use this opposite end. I call it a ticket notch, and I think what I want to do is ticket notch the bottom of this block. And if you didn't know, you take the corner of your paper, and I line it up right to the center of that screw. That screw happens to be there for the manufacturing, and I just line it straight up in the middle. I put the corner touching that little center area, and then I press down. Super easy. And I'm wet with the ticket notch end instead of the corner rounder because I think it just kind of looks like a sign, or a sign that you would see out on a hiking trail. And there we go. Very simple layout. Of course, my biggest takeaway is my border as a very pretty element, and then I have all this room down here to fan out those photos and really help make those photos stand out. There's nothing distracting from the photos, and I love that. Okay, I'm going to get everything adhered down on this page, gather up everything for the second page, and we'll start creating that. But while I'm doing that, I'd like to ask you to take a moment to click that like button. If you like this series, if you want to see more of these series, if you just like this layout or whatever, it helps to spread my content through YouTube and brings more scrappy people our way. So I would really appreciate it. Thank you, and I'll be right back. Okay, here's my second page. I went ahead and did the frame style foundation by adding those strips that I cut out earlier around to the hot cocoa cardstock. Just a reminder, I had 4 photos left. I have the 2 verticals and a horizontal one. I like to do this kind of an arrangement whenever I have this situation. It also looks nice if you do like that as well. So either way, I like it. I have this little photo that I'm just going to probably tuck in right about there, and I am going to switch these around. So the first thing I want to do is I do want to bring in a mat or some kind of layering piece like I did over here. So on this page I used the yellow polka dots, but I didn't want to do the exact same thing. So I'm going to bring in this piece of canary cardstock, just put it in here. Probably what I'll do is trim it down to fit my photos specifically and do something like this. And so I'll trim it about here and off to the side over here and figure out what I'm going to do with this photo. There we go. That looks really cute, notched like that. I like it. It brings in the same element as over here. So super cute. And I still have this one little photo that's probably going to hang off the mat a little bit like that, just to give it a little bit of interest. And because we have some of these tilted, why not tilt one on the other side? Next thing we're going to do is, if you remember back when we reached our 10th video in this series, I decided to start doing what I call the companion piece. So I want to do something on the other side that represents my border, but isn't always just a duplicate border. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to create a tag piece right over here in this area that will also be my journaling area. Okay, so let me scoot this up, bring in this piece of scrap paper. Also going to bring in this little scrap of the yellow sunflower paper that I used for the border. And let's see, I am going to trim this at 2.5. My punch allows me to do widths of 2.5, 2 and 1 inch, so I want to do 2.5. I'm going to trim this, make it straight, then we'll go ahead and slide this in here. Then what I want to do is bring in the Floral Peaks punch again. I'm going to just give it a little bit of a punch at the bottom. So I'm lining it up again with that black line. Then I'm going to slide it over. And then I'm going to take this piece to a 2-inch piece this time. Bring in this punch, and this time I'm going to use the 2-inch width, so it gives a little bit different of a cut. And then I'm going to layer it. I'm just going to offset it a little bit so I could see it and center it like that. Put a little piece of adhesive right there. There we go. And I'll bring in a little piece of white journaling paper. This is just lined paper. I just need to trim it down a little tiny bit. Perfect. Again, we'll put some adhesive right on the back like that. And we have a little journaling spot. Okay, next I want to bring in a piece of this scrap canary paper. And let's see, I just want a little strip of it, about 1/4 inch or so. And I'm just going to use this as a little ribbon coming through like this. And then I'm going to just give it a little bit of a trim. And get my adhesive, put a little bit right there, a little behind, rub off the extra that you don't want, and let's pull this back down. And so here's where I'm going to put the companion piece right over here. I can go very linear if I wanted, but I think what I want to do is kind of give it an angle like I did with the photos and just tilt it like that. That I have it in position, I would like to add some embellishing to it. I kind of want to maybe keep it the same like I did right there. This is the same type of flower, just a smaller scale, which I like. Let's put that right there loosely. Then I'm going to bring in my leaf box and see what I have in here for some leaves. Well, here's a brown one. That's kind of nice. Let's see. That's nice. We'll add a couple green ones too. Kind of looking to see anything that would kind of match up there. I like this one better. Let's see if we have one more like that. There we go. And maybe I'll end up popping the sunflower up onto some foam tape. And it'll go like that. Let's see. There we go. That's super duper cute. I like it a lot. And it kind of ties in all of those together. And let's see what else we have that might do the trick. I do like this one that says so much fun. Let's see, I can do like something like that. And then the one that says together is cute too. So much fun together. And you know what? That is all I'm going to do on this layout. I like it because I kept my embellishing to my border and to my companion piece. I have a lot of large photos on here. So when you do that, you don't have a lot of room for extra embellishments. And I really don't think it needs anything else. I want to keep it clean and simple. I made it this beautiful border, so then other than my photos shining through, I want the second focus to be on that border, and that's why we do borders, right? So to make our scrapbooking easier. And I feel like I accomplished that today. I'm going to wrap up this video, and if you want to watch more videos, I will list 2 videos here for you to watch here and up here. Okay? Well, thank you everybody for watching. Take care, and I'll see you real soon. Bye-bye.